Okay, getting that all-important academic position. This is the time when we're finally able to move into a faculty slot. And what are some general characteristics? The good news is in communication sciences and disorders, we're quite different from most other fields. Very often, because of the small PhD generation in our field and the relatively high demand, there might be 6 to 8 applications for an opening, and sometimes even fewer than that. So if you want to find, for example, somebody for a faculty slot in motor speech disorders, good luck if you can get 4 applicants. It's not easy to do. And that's true even in some of the traditional areas of communication disorders, stuttering, language disorders. We are not turning out enough PhDs to replace people like me who have retired. So the good news is there are a number of positions available, which means that there's a very high likelihood of finding a position. There are variable opportunities for teaching specialization. You might have to be flexible. It's not very often you'll find, for example, that you'll get to teach in just one narrow area. You might be asked to teach in other areas because it's impossible for most faculty to dedicate one faculty member to each specific area, like fluency or voice or swallowing and so forth. What do you need? Well, certainly an important area of expertise, something that you can say, I'm really the expert. When I was in grad school, we used to be told, when you're done with your dissertation, you should be one of the world's experts in that area, and you should be able to claim that expertise. You also should have a willingness to teach in other areas, again, to buttress your desirability as a faculty member. Clinical training along with research for some smaller programs. Some of the smaller programs in our field cannot afford to have people who do only research and teaching. They might also have to participate in clinical supervision. And that's a two-edged sword. It comes with opportunities, but also comes with certain burdens. And that's a critical question of balance for many people. What you must prepare. Job talk, extremely important. And sometimes I think we don't really help students appreciate the importance of a job talk and to appreciate the art and science of a job talk. There's really a lot that goes into it. And I'm surprised there aren't more articles that say, you're going to give a job talk? Here's what you should consider. It's absolutely essential to rehearse, rehearse, and rehearse. And if you can do so, prevail upon your friends and others, your enemies, and give your talk before them. Get feedback. Find out what works and what doesn't work. Because this is going to be one of the things that leaves the strongest impression during your interview. You'll meet a lot of people, but there's one point at which you're going to have an audience sitting in front of you, and you want to really convince them, wow, this person is very knowledgeable, this person is a good communicator, this person I would like to have as a colleague. Develop long-term goals, at least 10-year goals for research and career development. For a position that requires teaching along with research, develop a statement of your teaching philosophy and goals. And if you've never tried to do that, it's a good exercise. What do you admire about the people you met who were good teachers? What did they teach you about this strange craft of teaching? And what kind of philosophy do you think you would like to have as a teacher? Something that ideally would sustain you for decades of teaching in the classroom and being a mentor. A research plan for the first 5 years is very important. It doesn't mean you have to follow that. It's not like a contract, but it indicates that you're thinking ahead. You have a vision for what you want to be. You have a vision for the research plan as it unfolds. And it should ideally have a sequential nature. You could say, you know, the first 3 things I need to do are these because it's going to establish these fundamental principles. These will in turn lead to other areas. If you're interested in clinical research, you might say, this is the first kind of thing I need to do because I think it's going to have a lot of impact in the formulation of a clinical intervention. And then have follow-up plans to demonstrate that it really does succeed in what you hoped. Very important, I think this is another area where we don't really prepare people well enough. When you go to a job in academia, you should walk in within your hand a startup package, what you need. You should have a pretty good idea, and don't be super conservative. You should not feel embarrassed or modest. You should think on the order of, I'll say it, $100,000. Okay, it's a target figure. You're not going to get that everywhere. But when you're starting off in a career, That university is making an investment in you, and the startup package is a sign of their commitment to your career. It gives you what you need to get a laboratory started. If you don't get $50,000, don't feel bad, but at least bear that in mind as a typical, as far as I can tell, typical starting figure for many departments of communicative disorders. Now, if you're in chemistry, it'd be $1 million. So communicative disorders is a bargain in academia, because our people will often start for somewhere between $50,000 to $150,000. When I say $100,000, but you have in mind a $200,000 lab because you're doing some work in cortical processing, go for $200,000. Don't hesitate. But make sure that you've justified the items. Have an itemized list and be sure that you can defend every item in terms of its entire package and in terms of the value of each component. So do some shopping. Walk in, and so when they ask you, what do you need for equipment? Oh, I'm glad you asked. Here it is. If you have any questions, let me know. Be willing to negotiate, but be sure that you have a firm idea of what is needed to get your research underway. Your CV should show increasing independence that is demonstrating you are ready for a faculty position. Why is a research plan important? Generally, it's required in employment applications and typically is one of the big three: your CV, a research plan, and letters of reference. Share your research plan with the people who are going to write letters of reference for you. They should know you not only from their past experience, but they should have a sense of your research goals. Formulate that carefully. Again, have it read by your friends. Have it read by faculty colleagues. This provides a roadmap of your scientific career. It shows what you have done and what you hope to do. This is essential as a personal statement of your preparation and your goals. When applying for a faculty position, the research plan is typically accompanied again by a statement of teaching experience, interests, and philosophy. When you look for a faculty position, do they have good facilities or good prospects of getting them? Get it in writing. In my career, unfortunately, I've met many people who took a job with the oral assurance from a dean or other person that they will get a laboratory space and they will get equipment. Never accept it. Always get it in writing. Get it in writing before you accept the position. It's not that everybody is dishonest. It's just that crazy things happen everywhere. And fiscal emergencies can sometimes interfere with the most sincere endorsements and assurances that somebody might give you. It's a good idea to judge how faculty interact within and outside the department. Try to determine if you'll be protected from committee work while you work on your tenure. It doesn't mean no committee work. It means you shouldn't have an excessive burden of committee work. Will you have an advisory or mentor team? Increasingly common nowadays are teams of mentors to help junior faculty get through the hurdle of tenure. Startup funds and laboratory facilities, and what are the funding expectations? And guidelines for new faculty members, our suggestions, first author publications, and be prepared to document your responsibility. Increasingly, universities require that when you go up for tenure and promotion committee review, you can indicate what role you played in every publication. Write that down and make sure that your co-authors agree. Have an understanding with them. What did you do? Was it data analysis? Was it writing? Was it all of those? Look for high-impact journals. You can look for the ISI for impact scores. Look at the citation rate in Scopus to show significant contributions. Your publications should not include mentors all the time because you want to be freed of any apparent reliance on one individual. Grant funding is often required. You want the reviews of leaders in the field, so it's important they get to know you, and good citizenship and teaching. Sorry, I stole a minute. Thank you.